Okay, this is going to be a quickie, but it's just some thoughts I have on what's going on with Israel and the Palestinians, and these are just my opinions. I try to draw a distinction between opinion and fact. So, to me, a fact means something that I am either likely to be able to prove or can prove with evidence that would be admissible in a court of law. And as you know, I've been a lawyer for a long time. Tried many cases and have dealt with this admissibility issue all the time. And of course, the two biggest problems when it comes to admissibility are not relevance, but foundation, like how do you really know that's what you're saying it is, and hearsay, which everybody tries to get in, and of course leading questions, which has nothing to do with admissibility, but that's often a big issue with lawyers, particularly with it when they're inexperienced. So I'm drawing a distinction between fact and opinion. What I'm giving you now is my opinion about sort of the Israeli political issue as it relates to the war against Hamas that Israel is now waging within Gaza. This is my opinion only. But as Bill Maher says on his program, I don't know how I know it. I just know that, and then he'll tell you something that he thinks is, we all kind of take for granted that we know it to be true. We're just not quite sure how we can prove it. So this might fall into that category. What you're hearing from the Israeli government is that what choice do they have? They can't protect themselves from Hamas without destroying Hamas. And they can't destroy Hamas without going into Gaza and bringing the war to Hamas. That's what they say. That's the Israeli official position. And that position gets repeated over and over and over by people who want to support Israel. And there's lots of people who want to support Israel, and they'll look at anything, and they hear that, and they say, yes, this is right. Of course, it's terrible that people are being killed in Gaza, but what choice does Israel have? They have to go after these people. My opinion is that the reason they're going after the people in Gaza has nothing to do with what they need to do to protect themselves against Hamas. I'm going to repeat that. In my opinion, Benjamin Netanyahu's decision to send massive military might against Gaza to root out to rule out Hamas is not necessary to protect Israel against Hamas. What it really is Netanyahu's intent and attempt, successfully today, to divert public opinion from his government's total boshing of the defense of Israel against Hamas. Now, first of all, let's take a look at the relative difference, between Hamas and Israel. Hamas is not a massive army. Israel has jet airplanes. Hamas has no airplanes. Israel has a huge amount of tanks. Hamas has no tanks. Israel has nuclear weapons. Hamas has no nuclear weapons, and even if they did, they have no delivery system. Hamas has small arms that people say they got from Iran, and I don't doubt that they got them, maybe not directly, but indirectly, from Iran. But small arms and on a non-professional troops, and you saw these people, some of these movies of these Hamas jerks taking innocent civilians, and these guys often are just teenagers thinking they're hot stuff, and throwing these poor people. When I saw they took a girl who was later found dead, looked like a young woman, just throwing her in a back of a pickup truck like she was just yesterday's garbage, and thinking they were all cool and high-fiving each other. They're disgusting little shits. But they're not an army. And they do have tunnels. So the Israeli army should have been able to easily prevent an attack, terrorist attack, call it what you want. I'm comfortable with calling it a terrorist attack. They should have easily been able to protect Israel from that kind of an assault. And here's the significant part, in my opinion, again, there's nothing to prevent them now from preventing another similar attack. Now they know that it can happen. They've got huge armed forces. Instead of taking those troops and going after Hamas within Gaza, if they're just interested in protecting Israel, they can amass those forces along the border with Gaza. And they can protect themselves against another attack from a ragtag bunch of terrorists. They're not doing that because they failed to protect the people in the first instance, which is what they should have done. Also, of great significance, in my opinion, is they didn't pick up on this attack coming. This attack was a long time coming. And people in this country often will say, Israel doesn't need us, which is baloney. We need Israel. And we need Israel because there are eyes and ears in the ground, and they get all this information with their great intelligence service that gives us information we need to have to protect our own troops and forces in the Middle East, which brings the second question is, why do we have armed forces in the Middle East to begin with? That's a subject for a whole different conversation. But we don't own the Middle East. It's not our bailiwick. So to say that we need Israel to be our eyes and ears to support our troops, which questionably shouldn't even be there in the first place. And I don't hear anybody asking that question either. It's one of the reasons I bring you this broadcast, both of you. Well, one of you isn't going to be watching much more, I guess. Poor George Santos he's in trouble with the Republicans in Congress. And why do I say that? Why do I bring up George Santos in the middle of this whole discussion about Israel and Hamas and what Israel didn't do to protect the people of Israel from this terrorist attack? Why am I suddenly talking about George Santos? You got it. He's here. That's right. He always comes here because I'm the only person really who will give him airtime. Because let's face it, I like the guy. I like you, George, and thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. And stop letting Francois Pierre, our French bulldog, quit letting him go outside and play. I know he likes to play in traffic. That doesn't mean you should help him. What kind of an uncle are you? Yeah, sit and get the dog and then sit back down and I'm going to finish talking about Israel. Yeah, we'll talk about your problems tomorrow, if that's okay with you. Yeah. Oh my God. Look who just came in. It's the Speaker of the House, Mr. Johnson. Hi, Mr. Johnson. How you doing? How was grade school today? So I'm so glad you're taking those remedial reading classes. And it's not don't be careful. That's Kevin McCarthy is right behind you. It looks like he's getting ready to elbow you in the kidneys. Ooh, he did. Ouch. Ooh, that hurt. All right, let's get back to Hamas. It's just too depressing talking about the violence with these Republicans. Let's talk about something a little less violent, like what's going on in Hamas. So, Netanyahu and his government completely let the Israeli people down. There's no reason in the world why they can't protect themselves right now on the border from another attack and invasion. Hamas is not an army. So when they say this is Israel going against Hamas, you'd think it was like, the United States going against Germany in World War II. No, Hamas is not an army. They're ill-equipped. They're a ragtag bunch of rotten kids, basically, which have been slapped around a little bit more by their parents, like I was. Oh, I turned out. Okay, so maybe that's a bad example. So, Hamas, in my opinion, this whole attack is in all of this emphasis on let's go. We've got to root out Hamas. We got to just rip these people out of there because Israel will never be safe. Nonsense. Israel has every ability to be safe without going after Hamas. Now you say, yes, but aren't they bad people? Shouldn't they be gone after? Shouldn't they be rooted out? Shouldn't the people who are responsible be caused out? Absolutely. Absolutely. In my opinion, they should be. But at what cost? And who's paying the price? And we all know what's going on. And public opinion is gradually shifting against Israel because of Benjamin Netanyahu. Let's face it, this is Benjamin Netanyahu trying to save his political skin by diverting our attention from their botched job, the hostage being taken on his watch, to change all the emphasis to talk about how important it is Israel is proactive, they're going after Hamas. So the problem with going after Hamas like this at this time is that the price that's being paid for that by innocent Palestinian people, half of whom in that country are children, people under the age of 18. A huge amount of them are little toddlers, and you see the horrific scenes coming out of these hospitals in Gaza. I think they're all shut down now. No electricity, no fuel, and then the Israelis say, well, hey, look at us, says Benjamin Netanyahu. Let's call it what it is. This is Benjamin Netanyahu. So Benjamin Netanyahu is saying, oh, but we're the good guys. We've told these people, leave. We've told them leave because we're going to blow up all the hospitals. You, with no legs, being amputated. What are you doing lying around the hospital waiting to be blown up by us? We've told you, get out of here, because we're going to blow that hospital to smithereens, because we have to do that to protect ourselves. And so we're giving you a fair warning. I know you don't have any legs, but that doesn't mean you can't crawl down the hallway and then crawl all the way down to the southern part of Gaza where, oh my God, oh yeah, there are bombs falling down there too. But hey, it's your fault. We're the good guys. I'm Bibi Netanyahu. I love humanity. I love everybody. I'm giving you guys the opportunity to flee my bombs. Tell that to the people who are going through this, these Palestinians who are living through this absolute hell. And it's absolute hell, and it's unnecessary because there's no requirement that for protection and survival, Israel has to go in there now and blast its way through the bodies of little children in order to get at Hamas, because it's the only way Israel can protect itself. They can protect themselves at the border, and they can find other ways to go after Hamas. They don't have to level an entire city. They don't have to level a tiny little area, twice the size of Washington, D.C., which is not huge, with 2 million people in there who are the Palestinians who are helpless. They're the victims of Hamas, but it's not Hamas that's killing them. It's Israelis killing them, and they're doing it, in my opinion, I'm not in the court of law here, in my opinion, I don't know how I know it, I just know that this is Bibi Netanyahu trying to divert opinion from his own gross mishandling of Israeli security. Now, there you have it. Just because I'm criticizing Bibi Netanyahu does not make me anti-Semitic. Okay, anti-Semitic means hating Jews for the crime of being Jews, so it's purely racism. Unfortunately, we're seeing a large rise of anti-Semitism, which is in its purest form. I still can't believe we saw those people in Virginia walking around saying Jews will not replace us with torchlight, in a torchlight parade reminiscent of the Nazis when I was a kid. And it was sickening to see that. And Trump came out and said, well, there's good people on both sides. And now he's the head-on favorite to be the nominee of the Republican Party, which tells you something about where today's Republicans are. But and no offense to you, Mr. Johnson. Incidentally, I think you're doing a pretty good job right now. And you, George Santos, I don't know. If I were you, I think maybe I'd find another occupation right now. But you know what you can do. You and Francois, who's sitting on your lap, everybody. That's that person behind Francois. You can see him there. That's George Santos, a distinguished, soon-to-be ex-representative from the Republican Party from Long Island. So you can host this show. I will give you 50% of the proceeds that we've taken in just today so far. Well, you always ask the tough questions, don't you, George? Okay, nothing, for crying out loud. Listen, you're embarrassing me in front of all these people who are not watching this show. That's too bad. Think of all they would have learned. Yeah. What are you going to do? Listen, you guys have a nice day. Do whatever you're doing. Whichever you're doing, as long as it's legal, think of me. Bye.